and you're going to see certain pages that have good, healthy bounce rates that are really working and that are actually converting people. Double down, use the end of the year to double down on those things. And just like that, it is Q4. It's the fourth quarter of 2021 if you're watching this at launch, but this information in this podcast is actually going to be quite relevant at any time of the year. What I'm going to be talking about today is how to use data to make decisions for your business, and specifically how you can use data to either turn your year around if you haven't achieved the goals that you wanted to achieve, you're not on track to achieve them, or if you've been doing really well this year, how to make sure that you finish strong. Now, we've had a record year in my business. I'm very grateful to say that, but it still is crunch time for me. I still need to make sure that I am maintaining all of that hard work and that success, and that I'm setting myself up for 2022 to be an even better year, hopefully. So the first thing I want to talk about is KPIs. You may have heard of this term before. I may have even talked about this term before, but what it means is key performance indicators. You should have a solid grasp, a solid handle on your KPIs at any given time in the business. What this means is that you should be able to pick out a few metrics that indicate the health of your business at a glance and keep track of them every single month. This is also a really good practice to get in the habit of doing for the new year. So if you're not doing this yet, start now. So by January 2022, this is like clockwork. It's nothing new to you. So I'll tell you the KPIs that I personally track in my business. This one is probably going to be on all of our lists, and that's revenue. So revenue is the total amount of money that your business has taken in. For me, that is courses, services through the agency, it's affiliate income, it's sponsorship income for the YouTube channel, it's YouTube income, it's everything that my business makes, every dollar that my business makes. So this is an indicator, but it does not tell the full story. And this is what I mean when I say that you can't look at somebody's revenue and be like, oh my gosh, she's a millionaire because her business is taking in $1 million in revenue. Most people who run $1 million businesses are not taking home $1 million in their paycheck, if only it was that simple, right? You have a couple other factors that go into that. And the first one is expenses. Expenses can be labor expenses. That's usually one of the highest ones for most businesses. I think it's probably the highest one for my business, AKA my team and what I pay other people to help me do the work, but also just, any travel expenses, any office expenses. So revenue minus expenses is profit. And that's what actually the business or the business owner makes. Now, even within profit, that's not all what I take home. I still leave money in the business just because I think that's the smarter thing to do. It's always good to have a little bit of money in the bank accounts for a rainy day, to be able to pay for things up front that maybe aren't generating revenue yet. Example of this is when I created my journal. I'll link the process of that up here, but I had to pay a designer. I had to pay a lot of upfront costs before I made a single dime from that journal. So if I didn't have money in the business bank account, how would I be able to pay for that? So revenue is the first metric that I always keep track of. And I use this to inform my business decisions moving forward, because I can say, okay, last year we had a really high revenue month or a high cash month. What did we do right last month? What did we launch? What did we do? What types of content did we produce to replicate that for the next few months? Or if we had a really low revenue month, what changed? What do we need to dive deeper in? What do we need to pivot towards to recoup that money to keep us on track to hit our total annual revenue goal? Now, the second KPI that I always track is traffic. Now, I have a lot of different websites actually, but I really, at the end of the day, these are the ones that I'm tracking right now. And that's my YouTube traffic actually by way of views, and my course site web traffic. The reason YouTube views is one of my KPIs is because it is the largest influencer to the rest of my paid services, either service-based work or my courses. And courses is the strategic goal in our business right now. It's our number one focus in the business. And so, of course, we want to track actual web visits. Now, it's obvious, right? When traffic to these places, these destinations is up, the rest of your business should be going up. And if it's not, if you're getting a lot of traffic to your website or a lot of traffic to your main content vessel, a YouTube, an Instagram, a TikTok, or whatever, and your revenue isn't going up and your sales are not going up, then that's a problem. There's a bottleneck there, right? And people see this a lot, actually. They might drive ads to a website and traffic is way up, but they're still not selling. That means that you need help with your landing page, your website, your UX. Something is wrong there. YouTube gives you a really great report in their analytics. And then for my course site, I have a connection with Google Analytics. So I use Thinkific for my site, and they have an app you can install for Google Analytics. And Google Analytics, I am not a whiz by any means at GA. But what I do know about it is pretty fascinating. I mean, you can see your traffic sources, which is incredibly important, because if I'm looking at this course website and I'm seeing that 50% of the traffic is coming from YouTube, well, then what does that tell me, right? That means go harder with YouTube. If you're struggling, if you have not been selling like you want to sell, go harder with what's working. I do track followers. That is more of a brand piece. Now, it is usually going up with the other ones. Typically, if your traffic is up, your revenue is up, your followers are usually going to be up too. But at the end of the day, I can have a higher revenue month with flat followers, and that has happened because maybe I raised the price on something, or maybe I optimized the landing page so I'm able to actually convert more people who are going over to my website. So those are like the few numbers that I track every single month just to get a quick at a glance. Now again, these are not exhaustive. My bookkeeper is going to have way more detailed reports and insight than those few things, but just by looking at those few KPIs, I'm able to say, are we having a good month? Are we having a bad month? Do we need to pivot for next month? Or should we just maintain? Should we replicate? Should we do more of what we were doing? Now, another thing that I look at besides just my KPIs, I look at my dashboards. So I look at my traffic sources, number one, both for YouTube and the course site. So traffic sources means where is the traffic? Where are those clicks? Where are those site visits actually coming from? How do people get there? For YouTube, it's usually comprised of a few things. It's comprised of YouTube search, referred videos or suggested videos, something like that. Direct, meaning usually that's coming from email or somebody actually typing it in, like on a business card or something like that. So I like to pay attention to those things. And I can actually get more granular on those and click on YouTube search and see what terms people are actually searching for to get to my videos. So I'm able to really pivot my content strategy or maintain my content strategy for the rest of the year, for the following year, for the next month, whatever that is, by looking at that. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't try something new. No, that's what people looked for last month. That doesn't mean you can't try something new and see that on a report next month, right? So you can still try new things, but if you want to look for tried and true and things that you're really winning at and kind of dominating and leading the pack in, look at those metrics. Another thing that I like to look at is my bounce rate in Google Analytics. So this refers to basically how quickly or what percentage of your audience leaves. I'm going to put a definition up here on the screen because I honestly, like I said, Google Analytics is not my strong suit, but it refers to how many people actually leave your site pretty quickly. So you want that bounce rate to be on the lower side. I think 40% or so is about average. If it's really high, that means something is not connecting there. There's a disconnect for people. Maybe the price point is way higher than the traffic that you're driving is anticipating, meaning you may need to go back to the content strategy and make sure that you're qualifying people a little bit better before they get to the course site. Maybe you're going to give them a freebie and then funnel them down through email as opposed to just driving a bunch of traffic over to the course site. Maybe not. Maybe you shouldn't be posting on TikTok. You should be posting on LinkedIn, where people tend to be a little bit older, tend to be a little bit more in that mindset of spending money and having, earning a salary and things like that. So these are all things that you can look at when it comes to bounce rate. Now, it also might mean that your website doesn't have the information that people are looking for. It might mean that it's like just a really bad landing page, and maybe you need to look into that. So these are all things that you can learn by studying, your Google Analytics dashboard. And Google Analytics is something that can be installed on like any website. Okay. So if you have a Squarespace website, a WordPress website, a Thinkific website, whatever it is that you have, you should be able to get this kind of data by installing GA. So those are the metrics I look at and the metrics that you can look at to help indicate success and health of your business, and turn it all around. Look at those things, see what people are coming to you for, see what platforms are getting you the most traffic and where people are coming from, and double down. Use the end of the year to double down on what is working. Now is not really the time to be testing out new things unless nothing's working. If you look at your dashboards and you see like, wow, nothing is working that I've been doing, then maybe it is time to try something new. But chances are there is going to be a clear winner. There's going to be something that you are getting, some platform, some website, some place where you're getting the majority of your traffic from, and you're going to see certain pages that have good, healthy bounce rates that are really working and that are actually converting people. Double down, use the end of the year to double down on those things. All right, I think that's it for today's episode. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know which KPIs you currently track or that you will be tracking in the future after watching this are in your business. I would love to know and help hold you accountable, so comment down below. And yeah, I'll leave links to anything that I mentioned down in the show notes, and I hope you all have a fantastic Friday. Bye.